Okay, I just got off the treadmill, so I sound a little winded, and that's the reason. Trying to lose some of my bulk around the middle. Anyway, I went ahead and I turned up the. This is actually goes on the side of the engine, and the cam gear mount on it, and then on the end it has a slot with a pinhole swivel for the little actuator. Can't remember what the name of it is. It's what hooks into the lifter slide. There's a slider on the side with a lifter for the rocker push rod. So anyway, I went ahead and I've already milled a slot in this one, and basically this is just a basic turn, and then I threaded the end, and this here I just mounted in a 5C collet, dialed it in, so I'm sitting on center line, and then I went back and forth with a 3/16 end mill till I got down to my depth. So now I'm going to poke the hole in it. So now I turn it 90 degrees and lay it down. And I will have to put in my edge finder. I'll have to do this for the same thing for the other one. So I was going to make a combination wrench and little tapping brass hammer, but just never get around to it. Always find other things to do. Yeah, I've been trying to hit the treadmill every other day, but sometimes it doesn't work out. So I haven't been on it for about a week, which is not good. Need to get, especially in the wintertime. I don't get much walking in. Alright, we'll come down and we're going to pick up that edge. The top edge of the slide her in there. Alright, we'll crank her up until she touches. You've seen this many times already. And zero out my X. Move over 100. Not sure what the dimension is. I'll find out here in a minute. I'm guessing it's 93 or something like that. It is. Oh, actually it's 125. So move down, or move to the right 125. Right there. Put the drill chuck in. And tighten that up. Center drill. And it's just cold roll steel. Well, actually, I'm not sure if it's cold roll steel. I don't know what kind of steel it is. it machined like cold roll steel. So I'm just assuming that that's what it is. Just a piece of scrap I had laying. Am I going to be able to make it? Oh yeah. And this will be the same size as the other ones that I've done. A 93. That's for a cotter pin to go through it. And when I was doing the flywheels, yes, I did break a tap. It's a 440 tap. And I hadn't broken one in quite some time, so it kind of shocked me that I broke it because it didn't feel like it was that dull. But, so I just indexed 90 degrees on the flywheel and moved them around. The governor weight will cover that mistake up. You won't see it. You know about it now, but you won't ever see it. So there's one down. I'll take that out. It fits snug in here because in the collet because they are a 254 diameter. Now I'm not sure why they call out a 254. But I'll make the timing gear and cam to match. So there's one down. So just try to stick this one in here. Use your snug, and I'll tighten that up. And we'll set it up. And I don't have a spacer block on the other side, but that's okay. The size of the end mill that I'm using, it's not going to much matter. It's not going to put a lot of pressure on it. If I was putting a lot of pressure on, I'd have an adjustable parallel on the back side here, so that the jaws couldn't do the pivot number. So actually, it probably should do it anyway. It's a good practice to get into. Because right now, I can guarantee you, we're only clamping right here on this edge of the 1, 2, 3 block, because it's naturally going to go boink. I don't care what, somebody can say, oh yeah, my vise is better than that. It doesn't do that. Baloney. Put something in there and put an indicator on it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Because I've had people tell me that, oh, you must have a bad vise. Your vise is bad. Well, no, it's not. If you have a sliding jaw, unless it's a precision grinding vise, you're going to end up with that. And even in the precision grinding vise, you'll still get some of that on some of the model, on almost all the models, really. So you're not going to get away from that. You got to have clearance for it to slide, and that clearance is going to go boink. It's going to tip it. Well, enough of that. Anyway, I just had to get that off my chest because I had people comment that no, my vise was bad because of that, and that's not true. All right. Unless you have a dovetailed device where this back jaw moves on a dovetail, and even then it still could do that. I just don't see how you'd actually get rid of all of it. Alright, so I'm just going to come down and cut. And then I'm just going to crank up about 50 at a time. I'm not looking at the dial, just doing about a half crank each time. And I'm not sure what the actual depth that they're calling out, but I'm just going down to, I know it's deeper than what it really needs to be. thought that was my coolant. That's WD-40. I don't like using WD-40 on. It may have lubricating capability, but it doesn't have cooling capability. I know a lot of people use that for a coolant that, like I say, it doesn't carry away the heat like a coolant will. Alright. Okay, so that one's ready to drill. So we'll move you back a little bit again. And we'll take this out, flip it around and down. And I'm just going to give it a little shot of air. Actually, I need to file the end off of there, get the little bit of a burr on the end. And that edge finder will pick that up if I don't get rid of it. There we go. That's much better. I didn't deburr the whole thing, I just deburred that end. Alright, take that end mill out. And it'll serve me well. Put it away. That's about the smallest end mill that I've sharpened, so anything smaller than that is really a pain to sharpen. So I tend to just throw them away and buy new ones, and sometimes that gets a little spendy. You only get one use out of them. Alright. You know, like a 1/4 inch end mill, I get many a use out of that because I just keep sharpening them unless they break. And then still, if they break, if I can cut it off and put a new end on, if there's enough left up on top, that's what I do. Get a little more use out of it. I use it until it won't cut anymore. Alright, zero my X. 100, go actually 225. 225. Alright, put the drill chuck back in. And after this I'm going to go over and turn up gear blanks. So I'm going to get I'll turn up the spool and then I'll turn up gear blanks. So we'll be making some gears. And I might have to make a hob for it. I'm not sure. I think I got a hob, but I think it's getting kind of dull. I could probably try to sharpen that too. Maybe that's what I should do. Set up my end mill grinder and sharpen some end mills and sharpen some things. It's been a while since I've done that. Like I say, WD-40 has good lubricity, you know, for doing this, but it doesn't have what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't carry away the heat. The heat just sits there. It won't carry away the heat the way it's supposed to, the way it should. And coolant will. Some coolants don't have the lubricity, but they have really good cooling capabilities. And some of them have, just like what WD-40, it's, so, anyway. So, I'm going to sit down, deburr these up, and then we'll go over to the lathe. I'll round up some brass and we'll turn up the spools. So, I'll be back. Alright, we're going to head over to the lathe here, and we're going to do the governor spool. So, I'm going to set you up here. Try to zoom you in a little bit. I don't know how much more I can get over. Alright. So, I got a piece of brass. I'm not sure what type brass it is. Clamped in. It's 3/4 inch diameter. So first thing I'm going to do is face it off. Get a tool here. And we're going to run it at 1,000 RPM. Good touch. Should have checked my tool height. It looks like it's a little above. We're looking for a scale here. Yeah, the scale is leaning inward, so that means it's above. Unlock it, drop it a little bit. If anything, I'd rather have it leaning back, just slightly. Still leaning forward a little bit. That's almost dead on right there. Alright. Touch. That's better. Now you can see the scale read that it was dead on, and it left, it's probably a 20 thou little tit on the end. Alright, so the slots in here are going to be 94 thou wide. I have a 90 thou wide part-off blade that I'm going to use. So we're going to come in here and touch. Alright, and I'm going to zero out my travel dial. And we're going to go over 90 thou. And the wall thickness that we're going to leave is pretty thin, 46 thou. So I am going to go actually for 50. Just going to do just slightly more. Alright, so now I'm going to crank it in and touch. This is 750 diameter. We want the root of the groove to be at 500, so that's 250. So I'll come in and touch, zero my dial, and then crank in 250 thou. Actually, it's 125, 250 on the diameter. So we're going to touch, and it's not running exactly true, so. Right there. And now we're going to crank in 250. I'm going to get my coolant over here. That's 100. 250. Right there. Now I'm going to measure that with a drill. 94 drill has to go into that slot at least, and it's tight, so I'm going to back toward my 46 dimension. I'm going to back out. About 4 thou, and we're going to crank her in again. Let's see what we got now. It's still a little tight. Crank her back about 2 or 3 more. Got to be careful that the part-off blade isn't flexing, but this is thick enough blade, it shouldn't flex. If I had only a 60 thou blade or less, then I might be a little more. That's better. Okay, so now I'm going to zero my travel dial, go my 90, and then the island in the middle is supposed to be 120. So we're going to crank her over 120. And we're going to go in 250 again. I'm just checking to make sure that my zero is still set. Should be. Yep. Cooler bottle just about low, or just about empty. Low. There's 200. And 50. Now this time I'm going to crank that away. Crank into it. It's still tight. And I remember that I cranked about 5 thou, or a little bit better. So I'm just going to crank over 5 thou. Should fit. Yep, does. All right, now we could part it off now and then drill the hole, or we can drill the hole while we're set up. I'm going to drill. I elect to drill the hole while this is still set up. So I'm just going to back out. I'm going to leave it set, and I'm going to center drill and then drill the hole. It has to be a slip fit on crank. So we want to drill and ream it to about a 376. Center drill it. And get a drill. And drill it with a 368. And the overall is 400, so I want to go at least 400. might have to break away and get some coolant in my coolant bottle. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go 50. Get the reamer. I might as well keep this drill out. I'm going to need it again. Okay, let's see if I can find a 376. I believe I have one. That is 376. And this one would be 374.5. 374.5. $375.5. Come on now. I'm pretty sure I had a 376. Everything but. Ah, here we go. 376. I knew I had one. Knock that down. Get that, and I might want to slow that down. I'm going to slow that down to 600. No. I'm going to slow it down to 360. And I'm going to oil that up. We can part it off, and that wall thickness over there, we want the same thing as the other side, a 46. So I'm going to just shoot for a 50 first. First I got to move my part off blade, 90 thou, and then I'm going to go 50 more. If it's heavy, I can always part it off, or face it off. All right there. Before I do that, I'm gonna go fill my coolant jug. So I'll be back. Okay, doke, I'm back. And take this reamer out. And what I'm gonna do is just gonna put a long, small drill in there. And I'm gonna come up, slide that in there, lock her down. It's just going to be a parts catcher. All right. Oh, I want to kick that back up to 1,000. One down. There we go. There's the finished product. Oh, I should have deburred this hole before but that's okay. I can just run a burr quick on it. And I'll do another one just like this, doing the same thing. So I'm just going to cut away and go ahead and make the next one.